Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to the channel, where today we're going to be checking out the next album in the Björk discography, because if you've been following along, we've been listening to every Björk album from debut onwards. Now, of course, the last album we checked out was Medela, I believe it's pronounced, which I thought was a very challenging and interesting record, perhaps her most challenging record I've heard yet, which is saying a lot, but moving on, today, her next record, we're checking out her 2007 record, Volta. Also, before we start, I just want to say if you are new to the channel or you're interested in checking out the unedited reactions of all of the Björk albums, go ahead and check out my Patreon for $5 a month. You get all my unedited reactions, which includes every Björk album I've covered so far and, of course, the rest going forward. Now, Volta is 11 songs, 51 minutes, not 54 like it suggests here, given the fact that the one down here, I believe is, as you can see, just a bonus track of a remix of the opening track. So it's only 10 tracks long, actually, not 11 tracks like I said. But Volta is the record today, of course, we will be reacting to. As far as I know, this is a record that is a little bit more mixed in the audience. I'm interested to see why that is. I know she goes for a bit more of an accessible approach from what I've read. And I know that Timbaland is actually on a couple of these tracks, specifically the track Earth Intruders. I know he has a bit of an influence on. So can't wait to see his contributions. I do think he is a pretty fantastic producer, to be honest. And I would honestly say underrated by today's standards. Doesn't get enough recognition for his work, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s. But getting into it, let's not waste any more time. Here is Earth Intruders. Let's go. There we go. Okay, wow. Very muffled vocals right off the bat. Timbaland's on this one. I think those drums are very Timbaland sounding. Kind of groovy, this mix. I do like the kind of tribal sound to these drums. It's like the weirdness of Björk kind of battling with the accessibility of almost hip-hop of that time of Timbaland's production. Feels very interesting. It's like two ends. The accessible with the inaccessible. Like this weird, like synth or whatever that is. Very funky. Oh. Like that, stripping it back there. Love the nice galloping sound of this production. Like these keys too. The synth keys in the background there, very light. A bit of a long track. I feel like maybe a bit too extended. At 6 minutes here. Although we are getting some variation. Okay. There's that marching. Was that in here? I'm confused. I think that was in the mix there. Yeah. That bike I thought was actually around me. Very sonically trippy here. Very atmospheric outro, that's for sure. I wonder if will these horns play into the next? I'm not sure. Yeah, I like that song. When it does transition here, the waves coming in. I gotta say, Earth Intruders, only thing, maybe a bit long, 6 minutes. I would say I'd argue it runs its course. About 4 minutes in, you kind of get the gist of it. But still, quite a nice tribal sound to it. Very upbeat. I love the drums on it. Great percussion. Timbaland, I feel like, really certainly makes his presence known in the mix. And Björk, of course, as great as ever. Vocally, sounds great. Really hits those notes where she growls it out. Love it. Here is Wanderlust. A little bit of horns coming in now. Definitely with Ocean's Paw and Leaving This Harbor, I feel like taking in that kind of sea theme of the last track, ending it out with the horns of the ships, certainly segues quite nicely into this. Oh. Bit of a chunky mix. I like these descending horns. Oh. Very menacing, pummeling sound. Oh, that synth. Heavy, very heavy. Love the triple vocal backing here. Maybe even more vocals. Okay, I do like these stripping back moments where it gets heavier in sound. Boom, 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 boom. Love that. Heavy drums. Mark Bell, responsible for the drum programming. Certainly bringing a lot to the table here. Oh my god. There's so much going on here. I feel like this track is very dynamic. So much going on. A lot of layering. Very rich. And I love these bouncy horns. Very playful. Love the C kind of coming back here. Some Morse code to close it out. Maybe a die-hard Björk fan can let me know in the comments what that Morse code means. I wonder if the C theme will come back throughout the LP. Maybe kind of keep a consistent theme of the C. I'm not sure, but I like it. I like that returning sound. I gotta say, speaking of returning sounds, this does feel, in a sense, like a sequel to her LP Post from 1995, which is possibly my favorite Björk LP. I don't want to say for sure. Of course, Homogenic and Vespertine are also fantastic. But Post has a special place for me. And this does feel, in a sense, stylistically at least, like a continuation of sounds from Post. Embracing a slight accessibility element while still being very funky and out of this world. Here's The Dull Flame of Desire. Loved Wanderlust. Very rich and dynamic track as well. Also, Dull Flame of Desire, what a great title. I love your eyes. Getting quite romantic and sweet. And as I've said before, I love Björk's approach to love. Very sweet, very wholesome in tone, typically. But continuing.
Suddenly you raise them so
Who is this?
to cast a swift
Oh my god, no way. Pause. Anoni and the Johnsons. Here we got Anoni on vocals. An absolute brilliant and very underrated musician. Wow, I recognized the voice right away, but I did not click. I didn't expect to see Anoni on here. Their last LP was My Back Was a Bridge for You to Cross. I did a reaction for that. Check it out if you want some just incredibly powerful, potent, political, kind of soul music that channels kind of like Nina Simone almost. But sorry, Anoni, incredible musician. Love to see this collab. A collab I didn't know I wanted till now. I'm just gonna go ahead and like this song already.
when all is fire by passion's kill.
And through the down
Love her voice, so just powerful. Along with Björk's. What a stark contrast vocally too. Love this rising tension here with these horns and the drum. That's very gentle in its pattering. This one just like such a rising tension. It's a simmering instrumental. God. Love Anoni's like depth. And a good vibrato in her voice as well. Love the lyrics. Very poetic in this kind of admiration. Didn't even realize a 7-minute and 30-second track. Didn't even catch the fact that it was such a lengthy track. Just great pacing on it. I think this battling drum really adds to the tension and pacing. Oh my god, these drums overriding everything. There it is. Fully enveloping the end here. Oh, what a hit that start of the track here. Before we get into this track that feels like it's going to be a bit more abrasive in tone, The Dull Flame of Desire, 7 minutes, 30 seconds long. Really well paced. Did not feel like it hit 7 minutes. Great pacing. Anoni, incredible duet, I guess you could say, alongside Björk here. Great contrast of vocals. Of course, Anoni's got the much kind of deeper, more almost Scott Walker-esque like vocals, whereas Björk sounds, of course, as ethereal as ever. It's a nice contrast. I never knew I wanted a collab between Björk and Anoni until now, and I feel like it really gave me something that I didn't know I wanted, but it's great, and I loved it, and it felt very powerful. Definitely the most powerful and enveloping track yet, and I just loved the continual kind of rising tension with the percussion there. Great track. Here's Innocence. Let's keep it going with Timbaland's on this one again with production. Hold on. That like little pew sound, is that a GoldenEye sample from the 007 GoldenEye from Nintendo 64 era? It sounds like it. No? That is. It's gotta be. We gotta fact check that right now, actually. I can't let that go. Yeah, never mind. I guess it's not. I looked, could not find it. Nothing could be found. Let's keep it going. Here's Innocence. Sounds like a... It's got pew. Those synths. Kind of zipping around. I love how catchy that is. Another catchy kind of banger of a track, I would say. Maybe that's the Timbaland effect. Very funky. Kind of a spooky sound on this. Oh my god. Love the arrangements here. Lots of layering. Do Volta fans just not enjoy a nice banger? Do Volta fans just not like a little bit of fun in their Björk? Because this record so far, I mean, we're 4 tracks in, has been banger after banger. Very fun, very bouncy in its energy. Of course, the dull flame of desire is obviously, not as fun, but it slows things down. I like this LP so far. I think it's been quite pleasant, to be honest with you. I'm not sure what's the haters' problems. I love that like groan or whatever that is. Another sample. Let's open up. It's still here, but in different places. Man, this track is just fun. Like, just great energy to it. Great samples as well throughout. Wow. I think Innocence is the most fun track so far. Maybe competing with Intruders. Of course, that's the Timbaland effect, I think. Just great production. That's very bouncy and very hard hitting. Here's I See Who You Are. Let's keep it going. Loving this record so far. Kind of ambient opening on this one. A little bit of an Eastern, too. The influence. A very tranquil mix. What is this instrument? Oh! What is going on here? This Eastern sounding instrument. Track 5 we're on. I just want to see who is responsible for such a... I believe it is the pipa, Chinese musical instrument belonging to the plucked category of instruments, sometimes called the Chinese lute. Okay. That's, don't want to butcher the name here. Min Xiaofen. I could be mispronouncing that, and I apologize if I am. But I gotta say, Min is going kind of hard on this Chinese lute. The pipa, an instrument I never knew I wanted to hear. It sounds so interesting.
Where lightly and enjoy.
Love the clicking of this track too. A lot of effects at play here, making a rich texture.
Of you.
Love the softness of this one too. Very minimal kind of instrumentation and just great ambience in these gentle kind of notes here floating along.
I see.
Oh, getting quite enveloping here in this outro. Some strings tied in the mix. There's the pipa again. I believe it's pronounced pipa, pipa. Wow. Very Eastern sounding track. Even the kind of ambient nature of it feels kind of Eastern influence. Remind me of some Japanese New Age music. Shout out Kankyu and Gaku. You're looking for a nice collection of Japanese ambient music, check out that LP. Here's Vertebrae by Vertebrae, a 5-minute track. Let's go. Horns coming in. Sounding quite monstrous. Okay, these drums. Love how monumental this record feels. A lot of kind of heavy, sort of powerful mixes coming in, especially with the horns and the drum work throughout the LP. This is feeling very cinematic. I feel like we're in a James Bond film here. What a menacing mix this is. Oh. Okay. Love these kind of techno elements coming in. Electronic elements, I should say. I will say this record, I guess, has one flaw that feels apparent. It doesn't feel super cohesive sonically. I feel like they all have a pretty powerful monumental feel, like I mentioned, and Timbaland's production certainly unified at track 1 and 4, but other than that, I do feel like stylistically this does feel a little bit less cohesive than pretty much from everything homogenic to Medela. Obviously, I feel like this kind of goes back again to the post sort of DNA, where it's like just a great array of very well-produced, catchy, yet experimental tracks. But let's keep it going. I'm loving this. This, again, cinematic feel of this track. And attention. Like a ticking time bomb. Very meditative track. I feel like I kind of zoned out and kind of got lost in the mix there. Again, very cinematic, powerful tone to it all. Let's keep it going. Pneumonia is the next track here. I will say I'm conflicted on this record, but I am enjoying it. I'm just trying to understand it here as we go along. Pneumonia is this one here. I love a lot of the water effects, the ambience, I guess, that brings some level of cohesion to it all. A lot of horns as well in the mix that I feel like do add a little bit of cohesion. Björk feeling very Very delicate in her vocals on this one. I like these. The horn's adding a nice kind of early morning sound to it. You know, it's very a nice swelling beauty. I'm loving these horns. This one's very delicate in nature, yet still has that same level of, I would say, power to it. Certainly a set of relatable lyrics if I've ever heard them. What a, I love this track. I think it's very delicate. It's very beautiful. Showcases her vocals off more than any other track here, I would say. That was a nice track. Very meditative. I feel like we get to the second half of the record, it's been more meditative in tone. Sonically, a lot more just kind of hypnotic with its repetition. Here's Hope, which has by far the lowest streams. I guess the final track as well, but this one... Is that the Pippa again? I believe it's the Cora. What is she asking here? What's the question? I'm a little lost on this. Can we get some clarity, please, Björk? A dying in vain in this case, I think, would be, I guess, the lesser of two evils. You know, not murdering another, perhaps. Nature has fixed no limits on our... Still tragic, but, you know, less casualties. I do really like this main instrument here. What was it called again? The Cora. I do always appreciate the less westernized instrumentals. I will say, instrumentally, I like what I'm hearing. You know, it's not necessarily the most complex instrumentally. I feel like there's certainly other tracks here that are a lot more arranged and layered in the mix. But also subject matter, I'm a little confused on where she was going with that lyrically. Maybe that's, you know, part of the low streams, the question of what's being said. I'm not sure. But I can see why it's the lowest. It is pretty short at only about 3.5 minutes, which for Björk feels very short. And it doesn't really feel like it develops too much into anything beyond what it initially appears to be in the first minute or so. So, you know, it's an okay track. But lyrically, a little questionable. I'm not sure where she was going with that. Here's Declare Independence, 2.3 million.
Declare independence.
More of an abrasive sound right off the bat.
Don't let them do that to you. Declare independence.
I feel like we're in the red here in the mix.
Declare independence.
Bit of a
Don't let them do that to you.
maybe industrial tone to it.
Declare independence.
feel like we're in a fax machine or something here. Quite mechanical. Oh. Very glitchy in its elements. Oh my goodness.
Declare independence.
This mix very just high like bit rate. We're in the red here in the mix, feeling quite overblown. Loving the experimental nature of it.
Don't let them do that to you. Make your own flag.
Oh, ooh.
Make your own flag. Raise your flag. Raise your flag.
Climbing up.
Raise your flag.
Oh, we're climbing higher.
Raise your flag. Raise your flag. Raise your flag.
I want a whole album of this.
Declare independence.
Just so
Don't let them do that to you. Declare independence.
like the most punk she sounded.
Do that to you.
Oh my god. What a breakdown.
Ignore them to the top of your highest mountain.
Oh, we're going right to the tippy top here.
And raise your declare independence. Don't let them do that to you.
Oh my god. It's like you always think she's
Declare independence.
hit her limit and just keeps going.
Don't let them do that to you.
Wow. Loved that one. Declare Independence. Far and above my favorite here on the LP. Just great energy on it. Really infectious, very powerful, very pummeling in its tone. It feels very punk in its aesthetics. I feel like Björk could really go all the way with that sound. That kind of industrial, glitchy, kind of techno in a sense. Abrasive. Just loved it. I loved everything that was brought to the table, and I feel like every time I thought she kind of hit her peak, her limit to the pushing of the boundary of the noisiness, she took it even further until that outro, which was really just a great breakdown. Great track. I want more of that. Want more of that for sure. Here's My Juvenile featuring Anthony as the conscience. Of course, Anthony in question here is actually Anoni, which that was before, of course, they transitioned. So shout out Anoni once again, coming back into the mix. Loved what she brought to the table on the Dull Flame of Desire, and I'm sure I'm going to love what's here. Let's check it out. Closing out the LP, of course. Before today, I didn't even know I wanted this collab, and now we've got two in one record.
Worms to sandworm.
Closing it out with a much more somber, stripped back track.
Set you to free.
But the intentions were pure.
And Noni coming in.
Intentions were pure.
Maybe a tribute to Björk's child here, perhaps.
We're pure.
Very minimal, this track. It seems to be a tribute to Björk's kid. Maybe feeling as if she wasn't there enough, wasn't a good enough mother, perhaps, in a sense, is what I'm gathering. Anoni's contribution there, certainly a lot more minimal than on the Dull Flame of Desire, but certainly adds a nice contrast vocally, working as, of course, the conscience in this case, perhaps Björk's deeper thoughts and implications. That does it for the record, though. That does it for Volta from Björk. And I've got to say, certainly an interesting LP. A record that is pretty divisive among fans from what I've seen. Some people will pretty strongly put this in dead last in terms of ranking her LPs. But I gotta say, I thoroughly did enjoy it. I thought, it had a nice bouncy energy throughout. I think Timbaland's contributions certainly add an accessible appeal and add a nice kind of tribal, like I said, bouncy appeal that he always, I feel like, brings to the table with his drums and percussion, especially. Aside from that, I mean, the Dull Flame of Desire was a nice, powerful, monumental 7 minutes that feels like it flies by. Noni's contributions, both to that track and the final track there, I do think are quite beautifully done and add a great contrast to Björk's much more ethereal, higher-pitched delivery. Noni's, of course, much more down-tempo and almost Scott Walker-esque, like I previously mentioned, and also channeling a level of Nina Simone vocally as well. Innocence, I thought, was a great track. I loved Declare Independence. We got to shout out Declare Independence, of course. Very the most experimental here, the most noisy, the most abrasive in its sound, and I really want a whole Björk LP of just that kind of genre, that kind of sound. Maybe down the line here, I don't know, maybe later in the discography she dives more into that. But as someone who appreciates the weird, the abrasive, the just chunkiness of that sound, give me more of it. Give me more. Gotta say, though, there's nothing too, I want to say, complex with this record in comparison to Vespertine or Homogenic, which I feel like those two records back to back are very high concept. And even Medela, which isn't necessarily my favorite, conceptually is a very unique record. Whereas this one just feels like a continuation of what we heard on Post, like a sequel of sorts, but not as strong, of course, as Post. I didn't expect it to be that. But I do think it is a worthy successor to Post because it certainly carries on a lot of the DNA from that era, but brings it to a bit more of a accessible modern audience in a sense. Just a solid record, and I like the ambient elements as well that we got on here. I do want to shout out that a lot of the effects that were very ethereal and pretty. I found like we were in like a rainforest at times. I like the Eastern influences as well that we got on the record. Just a lot to take in. Maybe not all of it sticks to landing, but I think for the most part, it is quite a strong record. And what a silly cover, which we have not mentioned yet. Great cover. I don't know if great is the word. It's certainly a cover. Of all the album covers that have ever existed, this is one of them for sure. So thank you for watching. If you're just joining the channel, if you're watching this on the YouTube, check out my Patreon for $5 a month. You get every video of mine unedited, so all the Björk albums, Kate Bush, Pink Floyd, and of course every new album that I'm also covering throughout these months. So $5 a month, you get all the unedited reactions. Also, I want to say, if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe just to follow along on the channel. That is, just as great as joining the Patreon. I greatly appreciate all the support here on the channel that I get. It really means a lot to me. So, yeah, that does it for the video. As always, my name is Rainy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off.